Hey guys, my name is Ryan from Ryan MCFS, and today we're going to be taking a look at the PMDG Boeing 777-300 Echo Romeo RER. It's important to know I've been using the aircraft now for a few months. I've had a lot of time to really work with it, really explore some of its more silenced features, and I've been flying it a lot on VATSIM, mainly because it is super reliable. Now on screen right now we're going to go over some timestamps where you can go ahead and skip ahead to like which part of the video if you want to skip ahead all the way to my final conclusion on it. Of course you absolutely can, and the timestamps for all those will be on screen right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So we can go ahead and start out with talking about the Realism. Let's go ahead and take a look at the exterior first. Yeah, it looks pretty good on the exterior. Now, note that the looks will vary based on your graphics settings and all of that nonsense. If you want to know the best graphics settings for your system, go ahead and go watch Aeronaut's video. He does a great job at explaining all the graphics. Moving on into the inside, though, with the Realism, we can go ahead and start off with just the Realism in the systems, right? You might notice we have the APU on. Everything is beginning to slowly get up and running, but it's taking a few minutes, right? That replicates the real aircraft, the real life aircraft, right? Now, in terms of the fuzziness on the seats here, I mean, that could be better, but overall, really good. Another thing I want to bring your attention to, taking a look at COM once we get everything up. Actually, let's go ahead and start off with the FMC, since that is up. Yeah, the FMC apparently works pretty much identically to the way the real aircraft works. Aside from one little thing, you hit the menu, right, and you have the PMDG set up. Now, it is worth noting that when you first purchase the aircraft, it will not automatically start from a cold and dark state like I have here. You see, I like to have everything start up from a cold and dark state, and there we go. But of course, you have to come in and change that. It'll take a minute. Okay, now that you have the screen on, go ahead and talk about one of the most useful features. Come over to COM. Right. Flight information. And by the way, the screen here is a fully usable screen, right? You can go ahead and get ATIS information. So we are at Baltimore today. You can go ahead and type in the ICAO, and we can go ahead and get that from there. Get that from VATSIM. Now you have two options here. You can either terminate it, or you can go auto, or you can just leave it, right? Auto will make sure it sends everything back to you. Terminate, you might not get it. Let's go ahead and send it once. And it's going to go out to the interwebs. It's going to gather up all the appropriate information, and it is going to provide you with a complete ATIS message in a moment, which is really useful, especially when you're on VATSIM. Right. In terms of the Realism, just the realism of everything here in the flight deck, right? Supposedly, most of these systems function pretty much the exact same way as the real aircraft, right? The one thing that we will notice, though, there is a little slight button over here that is inoperable. You do get full checklist. We're trying to get that. We are still waiting on that ATIS request, just because we're not on VATS right now. Oh, there we go. But of course, go from like a pre-flight checklist. Of course, you can do that. Oxygen. I don't know that, right? We get a full checklist. You get all of them as well. And let's say you have a failure. You have this little menu here will pop up. You'll get, and anything that you're like. Let's say you have like an engine failure, right? You can run through a checklist in the non-normal menu. Right, let's go ahead and read out that ATIS information that we just got. Baltimore information Bravo, and yes, it will automatically generate a whole ATIS information for you, right? Telling you your QNH or altimeter and the wind. So overall, the realism, at least in terms of all the real bits here and all the internal bits, overall that is really, really crucial and really, really good. Now, some of you all may recall if you've used other aircraft that maybe you need to go here to flightsim.to or Microsoft or MSFS add-ons in order to get liveries. And while you still can technically do that, you don't actually need to, because when you install the aircraft, at least on Windows, you get the PMDG Operations Center where you can go ahead and install whatever liveries you want. I mean, personally, I love the British Airways livery. That's, of course, me. Let's say you want to fly American. American is somewhere in here. There it is. And of course, you can go ahead and fly whatever livery you want. And it is quite literally as simple as hitting the install button. You do not need to go anywhere else in order to get your liveries. And that doesn't just go for this PMDG plane. That also goes for all of them, right? So I have the 737-800 as well. And you can also get all the liveries for that. There's just one last thing I want to mention about the liveries, and that is that the liveries really take the worn look, right? They don't look brand new, like brand newly painted, right? They actually take the really nice worn look here. So you can see all like the window markings, right? If you look closely, there's a few other minor spots, right? I think if you were to go into the aircraft, which I don't know if we can see that well. But I mean, especially back here, right? You can see all the markings back here with the APU. Overall, though, the liveries do look pretty good. Now I had to pop it over into the British Airways livery just for the demonstration purposes. You don't get the same look on the standard livery, but once you purchase the overall aircraft, you get a bunch of really good liveries with it. One quick little note I want to go ahead and put in here. If you purchase the 777-300 Echo Romeo, you do not then get the 777 Freighter. You don't even get a discount. You get one or the other, or you can buy them both separately and have access to both. I just wanted to very quickly note that important point. Now let's go ahead and talk about how to purchase the thing. So of course you can go through the Microsoft Flight Simulator page. However, I don't actually recommend that unless you're on Xbox. Instead, I do actually prefer you go through the PMDG website. Now you will have to make an account, and of course you will have to download a few things, right? However, you get they walk you through the steps, right? And they do a really good job. And of course, once you've activated your key and everything, you will have access to the PMDG Operations Center. Or talking about install, you can go ahead and check for product updates, also through the PMDG Operations Center. Now, I recently installed the 737-800, and I know for a fact they haven't really released an update for the 777-300. But of course, all that's managed through the PMDG Operations Center, in which you get the download for when you purchase the product. So is it worth it? Well, I can't give you an answer on that. You will have to decide for yourself. Personally, I think it is absolutely worth it, right? I mean, it's definitely been, I've only been using it for the past 2 months, and it's absolutely worth every penny to me. But of course, if you don't do that much VAT simming, then you might be inclined to a different answer, really. It really depends on if you're doing any kind of serious aircraft work or any kind of serious simulation, right? You do get a really good aircraft, and you can get up in the air really, really quickly. However, once again, that $75 price tag, it is just a bit steep in my view. But you do get what you pay for, and you get tremendous quality out of it. So anyway, you have to decide if it's worth it or not. Well, in that case, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this first little review I did of course, go ahead and hit the like button. Of course, I don't make any money off any of these yet. I don't really intend to anytime soon either. But of course, if you're gonna hit the like button, let's go ahead and support the channel. You can go ahead and do that, right? I mean, if you really enjoyed it, you're not inclined to if you didn't. So yeah, all right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.